Hello everyone, this is HDSKS here, back with some more StarCraft 2 action. I just got done watching MLG, so I decided, hey, that wasn't nearly enough StarCraft for me in 3 days, so why not go ahead and cast some stuff for my channel up in the top right side. I don't know if you can read that name, I sure can't, but I Google translated it and it said it was StarTales Bomber. A player that a lot of you are probably familiar with. He isn't the most successful player out there, but is definitely one of the best Terrans. He is in Grandmaster League on the Korean server. And down the bottom left side, I will try to keep my fanboyism in check. It is going to be Liquid Taeja as the yellow Terran, so it is going to be a TvT. And honestly, guys, when I was looking through a lot of the replays that you guys were suggesting for let's see, the last tournament I was casting, the Azus Rogue Invitational, I actually cast 2 best of 5s. They were both TvTs, and every game ended up being like 5 minutes long. I didn't even want to upload it because it was the same thing over and over and over, lots of quick games. The reason I mention that is because is it going to happen here between Taeja and StarTales Bomber? Because TvT is notorious ever since Brood War, ever since StarCraft the original, ever since StarCraft 2, have been notorious for just being long-term games. And, you know, that's kind of changing a little bit. I'm not saying that it's not possible to have a long-term game here. We very well could see one here today. But just keep that in mind. When you're watching a TvT series, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be there for an hour and a half. So we'll see in this game exactly how that pans out. But most of you are probably familiar with Taeja. He's had a lot of success recently, playing at the top of his game. Recently defeating Liquid Hero at MLG. He advanced extremely far through that tournament. But some of the winnings that StarTales Bomber has, the GD Studio Arena number 2, that was $1,000. At Red Bull Battlegrounds, he got second, if you guys remember that. That was for $8,000. His other biggest winning, let's see, MLG Raleigh is $5,000. He was able to get first place there all the way back in 2011. So he has some success with first place finishes. He got first in GSL May Code A in 2011. But recently he hasn't had the most success. 2012 has been kind of a slow year for him. He's made a little over $12,000, something like that, $12,000, $15,000 this year, which is definitely good. It puts him in the top percentile as far as win percentage goes. But he's definitely looking to, well, kind of break out of that little shell where he had some success, but now he needs to start having that mainstream success that all the players strive for. I feel like Leenock, for example, is a player who's had some big wins outside Korea, able to put him in the top 10 most earningest player without having that much success in the GSL. Sure, he has some success, but definitely the majority of that from those winnings. Anyways, that's something that I really like about StarCraft 2 is that foreign tournaments are very lucrative for players to go to by just flying around and competing in those tournaments. Oh, we got a little bit of Marine micro going on here as he's microing against the depot, gets it down to 200 HP exactly. Decides to leave it there. The Marine just having a little bit of fun like he's playing paintball, but a super early expand here from Taeja, and my god, Taeja's playstyle is so sick. He gets so many command centers, it's actually absurd. There's going to be the second command center going down inside the, well, there's one at the natural and another one inside the main. And look at this, StarTales Bomber deciding to go for an expand and starport at around the same time, which is makes me wonder if he is going to go for cloaking or not, because he's not going to have a lot of money to invest in this. Now, he does have the double gas already, so he will have enough money to do this, but he's not going to have a lot of money for a remaining ground army. But I don't think that's going to be much of an issue, as Taeja has already said, hey, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to macro up quite a bit and make a lot of workers. Wouldn't be surprised to see 3 workers at a time as soon as this command center is done, because Taeja loves to play his Terran very similar to how Zerg is supposed to be played, where you get a lot of workers and try and force it into the late game. It's pretty crazy, because he actually does that versus Protoss as well. Down goes the cloaking here for StarTale Bomber, and is there going to be a Banshee on the way? He's trying to save up that gas. The timing of it is going to be slightly delayed. However, you got to remember that 110 in-game seconds to begin researching cloaks, so if you can start the Banshee a little bit after that, that's fine, because it's only 60 in-game seconds. That's a little over half the time it takes to get cloaking there, so you don't need to start the Banshee immediately, especially if you're deciding to engage right when that cloaking is about to finish. The expansion finally going to be up here for StarTales Bomber, and we have the expansion down here for Taeja. Taeja throwing down a gas at the expansion, decides to eventually add on a third one in the main base, but quite an interesting choice there. You got to remember that Bomber was able to get that gas earlier inside the main base because, well, number one, he didn't make 2 command centers, and number 2, he did expand a little bit later. But either way, he is going to be ahead in gas for just a moment, but as soon as this one finishes up, that is going to give Taeja a little bit of a lead. Where's that scan? We did see a scan go down inside the main base. That is going to spot the factory of Taeja, and this is a big tell. Did he spot the command center? I actually can't tell if he spotted it. Yes, he did, so he knows that that's there. He hasn't seen this expansion itself, but he's got to know. He has to know that Taeja has an expansion now, because there is no build that you would ever just build a weird place orbital command in the back of your base like this. It's just silly. It doesn't make sense. What does make sense, though, is the fact that he has Marines over here on the left side waiting to defend. A missile turret's on the way. So Taeja getting a good read on what's going on here. He spotted the factory, saw the add-on there, may have actually got a really good read on the timing of that, realizing that, hey, there is indeed going to be a cloak Banshee on the way. Needs to be careful here, though, with this Banshee. We've seen losing Banshees end up costing players games. If he can kill all these Marines, he's going to be in a good spot, but a nice swing in on the low ground. And no, a big misclick there. Wow, 2 HP remaining there for StarTails Bomber on that Banshee. He's got to decloak and begin repairing that Banshee up immediately. He cannot begin harassing at all. And these Marines got to try and go out here to clean this out. Unfortunately, that has got to be their death wish. Although an important thing is that Taeja spotted there's a medevac here, so he knows there's potential for drops. He knows there's the potential for this Banshee harass to continue. 2 SCVs being brought off the line, most likely to repair this Banshee. Also, Siege Tank is done. Siege mode is on the way. That's going to be a nice position here, actually, for Bomber in this game, because look, he's ahead in supply. He's probably ahead in the army supply as well. He is way ahead in the army supply. Oh my god, 32-9. Of course, it's going up much higher now that Taeja's economy's finally kicked in. He's been able to kind of pay off that command center by now, and it does look like StarTails Bomber going up for a crazy sick contain. He's got his own bunker on the way right now. He's got to start this. This is very tense for Taeja. He decides to go for it, realizing no, not a good idea, as the tank is now going to begin bombarding the entrance here. He will have to repair this bunker if he hopes to stay alive, because if this bunker falls, those Marines are going to stem and run right in there. They don't have stem just yet, but actually it hasn't started at all, so no stem is on the way. Combat shield isn't either, but that's because he's got the cloak Banshee, he's got the siege tank. So it's actually a very dire situation here for Taeja, because every time the siege tank fires, it's free money being taken away from Taeja. And need to be careful with the Banshee. It does get taken out here. Nice play there by Taeja, but still, StarTails Bomber going to have that bunker up relatively soon. You also have to remember that the medevac can spot the high ground, so no Marines on the high ground going to be able to take that bunker by surprise. Yeah, without siege mode being done anytime soon here, Taeja's going to have a hard time doing it. The SCV gets taken out, but guess what? The bunker's already done. The medevac is in a position to barely spot this high ground ledge. The Banshee moving up in here. There's the scan, and another Banshee goes down. But at what cost? Taeja is losing a ton of units here. This Viking, though, being a huge boost to his defense here. He does end up losing it, though, but not before the medevac goes down. So he is able to kill that off now. Another Viking has replaced it, and he is going to kill his bunker before it can be repaired. That means that he can move in here if he wants to. He's got to be careful, though, because the current tenants are not very friendly. They don't like these strangers moving in. Takes out one gas right here. Remember, gas is not as important in TvT, especially when it's 2 base versus 2 base. It doesn't really give either player a huge advantage, but I think the damage has been dealt. He's going to go ahead and back out. 800 resources more lost for Liquid Taeja. He is going to kill off that bunker, though, helping eve that out just a little bit. But Bomber, he did not overstay and did not overextend. Decided to go ahead and back out there. Could he have actually ended the game? I mean, it would have been tough. You can see he does have an army supply advantage, but now Taeja's going to have the defender's advantage. He's got the combat shields. He's got stim pack. He's in great shape as far as his Marines. And he's very, very good. Remember, Taeja is the upgrade Terran. I don't know if there's a crafty name we can name him for the amount of upgrades he gets, but he will always be ahead in any matchup with the upgrades. That is just how he focuses his play style, and it works out greatly for him. That's why he's able to hold on in these dire situations. Now, it does look like a sentry tower going to be going down on the left side. We'll almost spot these units immediately, and these units are going, oh, we're actually going to get spotted. Do we still want to go? Taeja says yes, then says no, goes ahead and backs them out there. What he really wanted to do was spot this expansion, see if the army was out of position, but no, at the same time, he's going to be doing a drop at the expansion here, unloads 2 medevacs here, and look at the spread on those Marines, focusing down these depots. There is a supply drop depot here. He wants to kill that. Watch the supply plummet here, right there when he takes that out. That is a huge loss. Because remember, that was a drop's worth of energy as far as the mule, and then of course the depot itself, so that's a lot of money gone. But he did finally clean up a lot of these Marines, and the Marines over on the left side were able to deny any sort of expansion over here. They are just chilling out. Is Taeja going to save those units? It doesn't even matter, because during this, he secured that 3rd base. He flowed over the command center from his main, opening up some free space to begin working on even more upgrades, working on the mech upgrades. And you see right now that StarTails Bomber, he's at 1 attack, while Liquid Taeja is going to be at 1 attack. He does have the 1 armor nearly done, as well as 2 attack already starting here. So in typical Taeja fashion, going for the early upgrades, but he is going to have to watch out here, because if we take a look at the army supply right now, still an advantage for Bomber. So if Bomber gets into a good angle, a good siege position, then he can actually take out this expansion, potentially kill this army, and get himself back in this game. We're going to see if he's going to be able to do it here basically right now. I feel like he's got to go for it because he's behind in economy. He's got to be behind in the worker count, no doubt. 57 to 45. There's a stem going to run up the ramp. These are the Marines who are supposed to be taking the splash damage, but the tanks from Taeja not in position just yet. Who's going to get the first shot? Looks to be almost identical timing. Can Taeja hold this off? For now, it looks like, no, it remains to be seen. The tanks, though, decide to fall back. They did kill off a bunker as well as a handful of Marines here. And now he is 1,400 minerals ahead as far as that unit's lost tab, but he has got to secure this expansion. Does he have a command center on the way? Yes, he does. It's a little over halfway done now, and so he needs to get that expansion down. Has he done enough damage here? I mean, it's tough to say. Yes, he's done a lot, but Taeja is so good at getting those expansions up, getting the upgrades up. Not sure why Bomber's actually going to be cleaning out these rocks. I think cleaning out these ones makes sense for a full-on retreat, but cleaning out these ones means that Taeja, if it did come down and running down this ramp, would be able to get a decent spread and potentially break the contain a little bit easier. So I'm not surprised to see him clean out these rocks, but these ones are, I'm kind of curious as to why he did that, as it just makes the movements easier for Taeja. It also makes him take less splash damage. Got to be dropping down a Sentry Tower as well. I feel like Sentry Towers are that one building where it's like, oh, right, my opponent built one of those. That reminds me that I can build one, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Looks like the Sentry Tower, though, did get taken out by some of those kind of renegade Marines running out there by themselves. But the supply now for Taeja is going to start getting further and further ahead here. If Bomber does not secure the expansion right now, he is going to go ahead and drop it down right here. He has been able to keep his income relatively good, surprisingly, despite the fact that he's behind in workers and also behind in the expansion timing. So I think he's got to be okay here. Let's take a look at the army supply, 88 to 80, and now the worker supply is almost identical here. So yeah, he has managed to stabilize. He's definitely in this game. Taeja, though, I mean, you got to remember he was behind in the units lost, but he has evened that out by quite a substantial amount. You got to remember in StarCraft 2, it's so difficult to get back into a game once you get even just a little bit behind. That's why the early game in StarCraft 2 is so important. That's just something that you have to watch out for. So anyways, long story short, this is still anybody's game. We do see a main focus on Marine Siege Tank. Only 2 medevacs looks like mixed in there. But Marine Siege Tank, very common in TvT. But look at the upgrade advantage for Taeja. Right now it's at 2-1. He does have the 2 armor nearly done, plus 3 attack already beginning. But by the timing of this, the 2-2s will be done at around the same time if Bomber does not overextend himself. He needs to wait for this 2-2 to finish. Then there'll be a timing window before the 3 attack kicks in, where he's actually on even footing. Apparently he's on evil footing as well, but +1 for the tanks is down. We do have a minor drop going on over here. Unable to commit there as there was a tank in position to defend this. It would be unwise for Taeja to begin engaging that. But you got to remember, no upgrades fully just finished at that second. But again, his upgrades are going to be behind. Right now, he is tied in upgrades. If he can finish this right here and find a timing, he will be tied in upgrades. But the longer this game goes on, that is not going to be the case in the next couple of minutes. Now, right now, it looks like Bomber's not really gearing up for a major attack. He's actually just trying to trick this army, get it out of position here, and he does spot, hey, there is a potential for a drop on the left side. This Marine right now is flirting with death. He wish he had a sniper rifle, but he's gonna get taken out there. Almost scared the army away, but not quite yet. However, that will tell Taeja, hey, he knows where I'm at. I've got to absolutely be careful here. So now Bomber gearing up for good angles here. I'm not actually sure how he got his supply so high, but he is currently at 183 supply. Let's take a look at that army supply. He is still ahead, has managed to stay ahead for quite some time, almost evening out right there, though, after he lost a couple of Marines to some siege tank fire there. Let's take a look at the units tab here. 9 tanks to 14 tanks. 14 tanks here for Bomber. That means if he can get into a good spot, he could win this battle very one-sidedly. But one of those tanks is damaged. He is going to be behind in upgrades as well on those tanks. Need to be careful with the medevacs for both players here. The drop up at the north, going to be attacking that third base as well. But there's a lot of siege tanks here to clean this up. Taeja doesn't realize that he got in way in over his head as he was focused on the battles down here. Ends up losing that entire army. All of a sudden, Bomber's saying, well, I've done it again. I've done the damage that I need to. I'm going to go ahead and back out right now. It's kind of the story of the game right now, is Bomber being cautious, not overextending, being a little bit behind in upgrades, but still going toe-to-toe so far in this game. And even his 3-3 is not that badly timed here. He's keeping up with the production of the Marines quite well. He had about 10 at a time. We do have a Thor on the way from Taeja. Those can definitely make the battles much more in your favor if you're able to have them absorb a lot of those siege tank shots. But we are about to find out if that Thor is going to play a huge role here. He is going to have to scan. Needs to be careful going in there. and that's going to be a lot of units lost there. Still ahead in the units lost, showing you just how difficult it is to actually get back into a game. But with the 4th base completing, the SCVs transferring over at the exact right moment here. And that means that Bomber all of a sudden is ahead in the macro, which is not something that Taeja usually allows to have happen. But will intercept some units over here on the left side. Might get a medevac or 2 for his efforts. And he does. Down goes 1 with that micro. Looks like those Marines obvious out. Decides to run right up the ramp. Follows the steal on these Marines. The siege tanks, though, able to do so much damage there. And we'll go straight for that sensor tower. No, decides to go for a depot. No, now the sensor tower, which is always a great choice because that is a huge advantage to your opponent. But the sensor tower in the middle, that's going to get taken out in due time, although he does indeed spot the troop movements over here, so the sensor tower has already paid for itself, and the Marines get it. You got to remember, sensor towers have almost no HP. The planetary almost done here. The siege tank's going to get into a better position to begin bombarding this, but he decides to go for the kill. Uh-oh, it's base race time. You guys know what time it is? Base race! Screams all the children in the audience, but he is going to go ahead and try and march up this ramp, but this game is going to get mighty awkward, mighty fast. You can see a lot of mules dropping at this 3rd base just to try and mine as much as he possibly can. There's a lot of units here for defense. Does Bomber have the same units? No, the supply is skyrocketing here for Taeja. He is still going to lose this main base. The tanks now are in position here, but no, both players have lost a lot of units as Taeja not able to get up here easily, and you can see Bomber taking a different strategy. Grouping up his units, could take out the tanks right now. I don't think Taeja realized that these Marines are here. There's the sim. He's got to go for it. Now's the perfect time to clean out a lot of those tanks. He does manage to get them. The Thor has indeed arrived here at the main base, but the supplies for Taeja are now suffering greatly at the siege tank line. It is here, and it is ready to destroy the entire base. But can these siege tanks of Taeja lock down the main base? It looks like the answer is yes. All the Marines have been cleaned out. Keep an eye on those supplies right there, though. They're going to play a huge role. The SCVs down here are forced to evacuate because he knows that 1 or 2 siege tanks on the high ground going to deny that expansion easily. Going straight for the tech structures here of Taeja. Taeja is realizing, hey, I've got to evacuate out of here because if I let him kill all these, I'm not going to have any sort of tech. I'm not going to be able to make any units once these land. 2 command centers have safely made it to the north, though. What is going on in this game? Both these players have, like, switched bases. Although you have to remember that Bomber cannot afford... Oh, he does have this base over here, so he can afford to make another command center. Look at the minimap right now, guys. Seriously, look at the minimap. I feel like we're watching a blimp race or something, as they are completely swapping sides of the map, slow and steady, although there is a huge supply advantage here for Bomber, so I don't know if we're going to see a complete base swap or not, but if Taeja decides to land some of these command centers he can begin dropping these mules. This is so ridiculous. This is like a Star Wars battle where the giant ships are like the Star Destroyers. Those are actually the buildings. The planetary is going to get taken out, but this might put Bomber into a position that he needs, but at the same time, he might also just be trying to buy time by repairing up this planetary here. And does look like right now Taeja says, hey, I'm moving in, and that does mean the planetary is actually in range of these buildings. It's a planetary killing SCVs, making buildings. Have never in a million years would I expect to see that, but at this point in the game, these buildings trying to figure out where to land, and you can see every player, or both players, excuse me, are completely frantic here. Will get 1 command center. That is huge. Absolutely huge. Might even get a barracks here as well. That's going to be also huge. I want to say that Bomber definitely has the advantage moving forward. He's got to make sure not to mess it up. He's got equal upgrades now, I believe. Did both players finish their 3-3? Well, it looks like Taeja has. How about Bomber? Where are these Marines at? They also... No, 3-2 here. So even though the supplies are favoring Bomber, it's not by that much. Plus, there is an upgrade advantage. And even that Thor, I feel like it keeps that Thor alive. It could play a huge role. Does the Thor drop? But look at this base down here. What are we actually looking at? I don't even know. But I'm sure glad I picked this game to cast. This one Marine, his job is to shoot his gun for a living, which that sounds like a lot of fun to me, as the add-ons now, reactors. Gonna be a lot of Marines on the way. I think that's actually a little bit overkill because he doesn't have any income right now, and I think he lost the majority of his SCVs. Yeah, he's only 23-8 right now. And there is going to be an attack over here with these SCVs. They are going to spot exactly what's going on right now. And they can say, see, oh, I can't build barracks down here because this base is already taken. The mules have been dropped here. And I can't tell if there's attacks going on or not because the buildings are throwing me off, man. It looks like there's an attack going on right now, though, in the center of the map. But this game might not even be over anytime soon because both players are unsure on who's actually in the lead. Both players are good on supply, but look at this income from Taeja, dropping all of his mules at once. This is going to plummet now, while the mules, it looks like, for Bomber's trying to kick in, but he may end up losing his command center. He needs to keep it alive. The mules trying to get out of there. Don't know if they're going to be able to drop their load off or not because they are going to die here very, very soon. And it does look like here that this army is going to be backing out just a little bit. So I'm speechless right now. I don't actually know how this game's going to go. Usually I have a good prediction on what's going to happen. I mean, Bomber does have a supply advantage. He's got to try and kill off a medevac. Is able to get one, but can he continue forward with this supply advantage? It's going to be tough, but now that the incomes have stabilized a little bit, now, actually, where's he? Oh, he's mining up in the top left. There we go. I was wondering where that income was coming from. And he's still got a couple of depots over here, so he doesn't have to remake those, which means his army is going to continue to grow in size. And Taeja, I mean, he's running out of momentum here. He has a lot of money, 2,000 minerals, 2,000 gas, but he just doesn't have the infrastructure to begin producing off of it. Does he do the add-ons and risk not having a big enough army? Or does he not do the add-ons and risk not having a big enough army in the later stages of the game? It's going to be a tough choice for him, but right now I feel like Bomber made the correct one. He did all the add-ons right away. He's got the production capabilities he needs. Can't even afford to spend all of his money just yet, or can't keep up with his income. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. But at this point right now, Bomber going to be moving to the center of the map. While he is at an upgrade disadvantage, he's at an army advantage right now. 6 tanks to 11. 47 Marines to 13. That's more than enough just to march in here, I feel like, and win the game. Taeja, though, is tucked nice and tight into this corner. He's got a great concave going. Bomber does not want to run into this for fear of losing everything, because I think he's probably got a good feeling that he has this game in the bag. Because look at the map. Look at the map vision. Red player Bomber can see a whole lot more, and he's basically got him tucked away in this corner. He knows that he's not mining anywhere else. He knows that he safely has this expansion up in the top left side, so he should be A-okay. However, once that infrastructure starts to kick in here for Taeja, his army size might actually grow to surpass that of his opponents, because look, he has a lot of money to spare, but can he produce enough Marines here? I think he might actually be able to. Now it's 54 Marines to 40. Taeja getting the momentum back. Once that money was actually invested into his army, he is able to equalize here by quite a bit. I think Bomber trying to realize, well, I have a economy advantage. Can I press that economy advantage long enough before Taeja can punish me? A crazy concave here. I don't think it's going to work out for Taeja, but remember, he does have the +3 armor, so maybe it will. Trying to split these Marines as best he can. Can he take out all the tanks? 3 remain, 2 remain, but only 4 Marines left. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. 1 tank remains. He is going to go back out there, but the supplies once again are so identical. This game deserves to be tagged as epic, because he was way behind many times, is still in this game. I would say he's even still behind right now, but here comes the drop in the mineral line. Is this going to be it for Taeja? His tanks out of position. They are guarding the mineral line, but doing lots of splash damage to the SCVs. Can he kill any of these medevacs? Can he kill any of the Marines? Remember, he still has that upgrade advantage. 2 Vikings are here with very little HP. Oh, and is he going to focus down with all the Marines inside? He's clicking on the right one, but no. Decides to attack the lower HP one, and right now Taeja has held on. He has a supply advantage. He may just go all in right now. Can he actually do it? I thought for sure that Bomber had this game, but look at this. This is the only defense. He's got 1 tank. He's got to back it up here. Only a couple Marines in the army now. Out of position. The siege tanks weren't sieged yet, and he is going to try and break free. It looks like Taeja's going to do it. Taeja's actually ahead in supply now by a great deal. More than a double margin right now. He could move out. He could win this game. I can't actually believe it. I thought for sure that Bomber had this. I thought it was in the bag. I thought this game was going to be boring. But Taeja units just do not die. Oh my god. I'm freaking out, man. It looks like he's going to go ahead and decide to do a push right now. There's only the 1 tank right here. He's got 10 kills on it, but he's going to need about 50 more to actually hold this. The 4 tank, it's all by himself, and there's the GG. Oh my god, Taeja able to actually take this game. I'm about to have a heart attack. That game was so good. Alright, well, if you guys are wondering why I love Taeja, that is exactly why right there. I cannot believe he actually managed to do that. What an awesome game for Taeja. Great game for StarTale's Bomber. Again, though, Bomber has been struggling a little bit recently, at least in 2012, but keep an eye out for him because he still did get first place about halfway through the year at the GD Studio Arena #2 and 5th place at IEM 7 at the Global Challenge. But anyways, great game. Hope you guys enjoy it, and yeah. I'll see you guys next time.